Hey guys, it's Mehdi from Microsoft. Welcome back. Today we are going to deploy FastAPI CRUD application on DigitalOcean with GitHub Actions CICD. And in this tutorial we will do actually more things. At first we want to configure our GitHub with YAML file for action runner. At the second we are going to configure our server using DigitalOcean Ubuntu server actually to install Nginx and MongoDB for our database. And at the second we need to configure our user on Ubuntu, our MongoDB, Nginx, and Gunicorn. At the end we will run our project. And I have already created just simple FastAPI application. You can find this tutorial in my YouTube channel. But before we are push this application on server, let's to run our application to be sure everything is correct and work it. From here, just by typing Python root.py. From here I'm going to call localhost port 8080. As you can see, we are just simple FastAPI application to add a new user, title Python for example. This is just for test that we are going to be sure everything's work correctly. Now as you can see, at this time the project or our application run in localhost. We want to do actually serverless for our application. Great. Now let's start. Actually in normal we don't push config environment file to GitHub action or in action, and as you can see I have just simple database. If I can just suggest you or recommend you, if you have some secret database or you have database with username and password, I don't recommend to push your virtual environment in your GitHub instance. You can create just virtual environment file separate in your DigitalOcean server in your program. But in this situation actually it's not matter. I just want to push my environment to server, actually to GitHub, and then push to our Git. Actually we want to clean it from GitHub to our server. Okay, great. Now I just want to be sure git add all and git commit -m just to, I can say GitHub, for example, GitHub CICD, and at the second just git push origin main. Okay, what's wrong? Git push origin main. Okay, at the first I need to git pull because I have a change. Just git pull from server. I've already did some files from here, and now I can just push everything to server. Okay, now I just want to close Visual Studio Code from here. Let's do open GitHub. Now I'm going to open our project from here. Must to be actually here, FastAPI CRUD application. And now, as you can see, in this time we don't have any action runner or config file. At the first, from here, actually before, it's not matter. You start with GitHub or from your DigitalOcean, but I prefer at the first config my DigitalOcean, and let's start from here. Just digitalocean.com. I'm going to log in. Okay, now from here, from create, I'm going to create droplet, just simple droplet, and in my case near to me, Frankfurt for example, Ubuntu, just simple for $7 in mount. And if you don't have a SSHK, I recommend to add it from here. You just need to copy paste your SSHK actually from your public SSHK from your system, local system, to here, and we give a name for our virtual environment, for our virtual private server. I give the same name, actually it's virtual private server, and let's create. Take about 30 seconds or 40 seconds. This looks good actually. And what we need to else, we are going at the first to create a user. We want to at the first, let's open our from here. Okay, now it's ready. I can copy this our IP address from here, and now let's connect to our server by typing SSH root at IP address, and then I'm going to take it. Okay, now sometimes it's too fast and sometimes need a time to preparing everything from here. Actually must be fast. Now as you can see, we are going to, yes, we want to be accept fingerprint actually from here just by typing yes, and as you can see, I'm logging in our virtual private server Ubuntu, and we are just some simple information about server. Okay, now let's continue from here. I just need to, before at all, I just want to type apt get update. Okay, now let's add just by typing add user, for example Mehdi, I'm going to define a password. Full name, if you want you can type more information, and at the end accept our information. And at the second, from user mode, actually we need to give permission actually that this user allowed to use sudo. Our user will be this case Mehdi. Let's do something else, because I don't want to log in our server with als root. We are created new user because we wanted to log in as a new user Mehdi from here. Just let's go to from here home, MIDI. From here encode here, and let's to create a folder, for example sshub and cd.sshub. From here we need to type sudo, or actually I have already logged in as a root. I don't need any sudo, just nano and typing new file name, actually authorized k. And from here I'm going just to copy I don't know, maybe from here I'm going to copy paste my private key and Control X, Shift Y or epsilon. I'm going to save our settings, and at the end let's do exit from here, and this time I'm trying to log in as user Mehdi. As you can see, user is Mehdi and server name is virtual private server. That means everything looks good and worked correctly. The second step actually is we are going to install our dependency. As I have already said, we need to install Nginx and some other dependency. Let's start. Actually, I have just simple. Let me to open it from here. We need to install Python virtual environment, and pip. We can follow this just simple command line from here. Okay, now we are going to update at the first our package system, and now we can see as a default we have Python version 3.10.7. Now let's install pip just by copy paste from here, sudo apt install python 3 pip. And after that, step 4, as you can see, we need to it's optional, but I recommend it to install additional tools. Let's copy that, and we can't actually I will you can find this DigitalOcean community tutorial in GitHub. I will add it in GitHub that you can copy that. And at the end we need to install virtual environment, Python virtual environment. Now from here just accept it. Now let's do another setting. Let's need to see our firewall. Allow to use open SSH UFW. Actually, we can see our command line that we are allowed to work from here, from status. As you can see, enable allow. You need to be what's wrong from here. Maybe we need to from sudo. Okay, now to be sure, actually the OpenSSH is allowed to access the machine by we have typing sudo UFW allow open source. And now from here, just by sudo ufw enable. What's wrong? Okay, now yes, we are going to enable our firewall. As you can see, firewall is active and enable on system startup. And now we can just by typing ufw status, we can see some status. And at this time, actually I forgot to do something else. I have told you we want to log in as user MIDI, and we don't want to log as a root anymore. To do that, actually, in this time, if I do exit and I try to log in as root, I allow to log in again. As you can see, I have logged as root. To prevent it, actually, to stop it or disable login as root, I'm going to do something else. Let me to exit again, login as user. Now sudo nano from etc ssh and ssh config and type a password. Okay. Now from here we can say just simply, okay, we have just some other setting. Maybe it's new update from DigitalOcean. Looks actually something else, because I just found it from here. Maybe locate command. We are looking for permit root login. Actually, I cannot find it from here. Let's do the exit. Maybe here, not as well. What's wrong? What did he do? Password authentication actually is not active at this time, and we can just password authentication must to be actually from here. No, and then let me just to copy paste this command line. We want to prevent, and we want to say from here password. Okay, I have already copy pasted. I have this command. Just let me to do something else. Now permit root login no. That means login as root is not possible. Now I'm going to save it, Control X and Shift Epsilon. Okay, great. Now let's continue. We are install Python from here. We are already installed Python additional actually tools. We are installed Python pip, actually pip install. We have already installed it, and we have config our firewall, and firewall now is active. Now let's continue from here. I'm going to install some other dependency that we need from sudo apt install Nginx and CURL. Okay, now it's starting to install everything. Okay, great. From here, just I type OK. Now it's time to start from GitHub. Just from here, FastAPI CRUD. At the first, I'm going to settings. From settings, action, runners, and now new self-host runner. I choose our operation. In this case, we have Linux Ubuntu x64 is correct. Now we are create a project. We are create a folder for our project, and as you can see, as a default has an action runner. If you want, you can change this name, and for me it's not matter. I just want to keep this name, but if you want, you can change it. And the second step is download the last the runner package from GitHub. And the third is optional. We are going to validation our download. If I do ls, as you can see, at this time we have just download just simple zip file. Now let's do extract this file by typing action runner. Let's do ls again. Okay, now ti. Okay, let's do check again. As you can see, we are unzip all the file. That means we don't need this file anymore. I can just say just action this file, and from here ls. Now just we have inside action runner file, we have just extract unzip files. And the second step, and from here, from configure, we are going to configure action runner. Just let me to copy it from here. Now action runner actually, and enter the name of runner group. I just want to keep the default name. You can change this name. And the second is the name of runner. As you can see, as a default is virtual private. It's the same name our DigitalOcean. I just want to keep this server name. And from here, we want it's just simple runner that we allow us to use self-hosted Linux or some other things. I just want to skip from here. And now, as you can see, the last part, we can type a folder name. It's actually this work directory is our work directory. It's the place that we are clone our project. The work directory, I just want to keep this name. I don't want to change any name. Just enter. Okay, what's wrong? Okay. Now, as you can see, runner sitting name, folder, everything is saved, and let's run our action runner. Just from here, by typing run.sh, the actually is this file. As you can see from here, we are going to call this run.sh. Sometimes DigitalOcean doesn't work any. I don't know, it's depend to my internet or something else. Okay, now connected to GitHub, as you can see, and waiting for jobs. Now I'm coming back from here, reload this page. Now I'm going to action. From here I just want to configure, it's not matter actually which files you choose, because we want to remove anything from there, or we can just from here digital must be FastAPI YAML file, and from here FastAPI as well, for example demo. And now we don't need any pull request, and I'm sure in this tutorial I have, or in this project I have just one branch main. Actually we can do some things like this. If you have just one from here, sorry, if you have just one, what's invalid, okay, if you have just one branch, if you are not sure, maybe you have more than one branch, it's if you have more than one branch, I completely recommend you to have this branch and define your branch, from which branch you want to push your code to to server. And if you don't have more any branch, or if you have just one branch, you don't need anything. Actually you can just typing on something like this from here. Now I just want to keep this, and from job I try to delete everything from here. I'm going to copy paste everything from here, and as you can see we have jobs. If the another things, as you can see, I didn't define any Python version. If you are working with a special version of Python, again from here just started to define your Python version. If you just want to use Python as you have here in your server, you don't need to define any Python. And from here runner runs on self-host, as we are already see from here we are allowed to work with self-hosted. And the second, from here I'm going to create a virtual environment in our work directory, and the second active our virtual environment, because I don't want to install our dependency globally. I just want to create a virtual environment. As the same way, actually I have already created FastAPI application CRUD in my local system, and from here pip install here minus requirements.file. I'm going to install our requirements file. Actually looks good. Let's do a start commit. I'm going to action again, create FastAPI build. Now we can see if everything's worked correctly. Now as you can see, I started to install our dependency. looks great actually. Sorry. Now as you can see it's green and everything is installed successfully. Now as you can see from here, we are run our action runner temporarily. I just want to do something else. Let's stop it. Today this actually it's not work too fast. I don't know why. From here, from server, just okay. Now I type ls. Now as you can see, automatically create work order for us. And I have already run this command to run action runner. We are going to do something else. Sudo. This time I just want to call this file svc. Now as you can see, command optional. We have more different commands line: install, start, stop, and status. I'm going to type install, and the second let's do start action runner on our server. As you can see, is active and is running. Let's do clear here, and this time I'm going to want to say status. Now it's running actually at the back end, and we don't need to call run sh anymore. Okay, now let's go to work order. FastAPI CRCUD is the same name. We aren't changed it actually. As you can remember, I accept this name as a default, and again FastAPI CRUD. From here ls. Now we have database file, we have model, we have all files, we are install our dependency in our virtual environment. And now that we have everything, we can just test our project. At this time it's possible to do that. Actually I'm going to deactive firewall. Actually this is really dangerous practice, but as you know, in this time we are going to create a tutorial, but after this I recommend you to close your firewall. Just by sudo ufw disable firewall. As you can see, stop it. When you stop your firewall, that means everyone or every person allowed to access from any ports to your system. That means all ports is open. Now to run our project, at the first I am going to active from here source virtual environment being active. As you can see, virtual environment is active, and I'm going to run python 3 root.py. Now as you can see, our project is running. Now let's do some things from here. Oh sorry, not localhost, just from here DigitalOcean. Let's do login again. Now I'm going to copy this line, 80. Okay, it's not working because let me to check. If I sudo nano root.py as you can see, hosted at this time is localhost. I'm just going to change it from here, copy our private file IP address, now port 8080. I save it again. Now let's run our project. Okay, great. This time is running on this port, actually, port 8080. Okay. We have get error again because I am completely forgot we have database. We need to configure our database at the first. Let's do install MongoDB in our system and just stop this project. As you can see from here, said cannot connect to database MongoDB, because we have already created MongoDB database and it's not possible. Okay, to install MongoDB, we are going to follow another tutorial from here, how to install last MongoDB on Ubuntu. Let's do update from here. At the first, I'm going to my directory, home directory. Now from here, I'm going to update this our system at the first. Type in deactive to deactive virtual environment. Okay, now the second time parts from here. Sudo apt install build dependencies down. Okay, I think it's not matter because sorry, I didn't copy everything from here. Now looks better. Okay, and the second from here, let's do download MongoDB GPJ. Just again, I think I need sudo. Okay, you can see we have okay, that means it's downloaded. Now it's time to from here create a list of MongoDB. The same way, and as you can see, it's working correctly. Now again, we need to update just by sudo apt get update, and now again sudo install MongoDB. Now as you can see, we have some problem here, unable to correct problem. You have here broken packages. To solve this problem, because I have Ubuntu 22, to solve this problem, as you can see, you can echo from here security Ubuntu for security main, and temporary I create a focal security list. And now let's again to do update. If you have already installed MongoDB in your system, you don't need actually to follow this tile. And now from here sudo apt install as you can see, install it. And now we can just again delete this focal security list. If I'm typing actually before we are actually delete this security list, let me again try to install MongoDB just by typing sudo. Okay, this time looks better, and we are going to install MongoDB. This is just simple security actually from new update of Ubuntu. Actually it's not matter, because we need a list of security files and we are temporarily created. And now as you can see, we have installed MongoDB successfully. Now we can delete actually this simple security list that we have already created just by typing sudo rm etc apt, I think, and now source list .de, and now focal list. Okay, great. And now again, let's continue. From here we are going to start MongoDB. Okay, it's completed, and now we are going to enable. Now again, okay, type okay. Now okay, it's completed as well. Now we can see status of MongoDB. MongoDB is installed and is active. And in this case, actually I don't have any admin MongoDB. It's not possible to create a MongoDB without admin, because this tutorial is just simple tutorial. You can follow this command to create an admin for your database. As I said, this database is open, actually is running in port 27127 actually, I think. And I don't want to create any user or admin for my database, but it's completely easy. You can just from here just use admin to create the admin. And the second, if you create the admin, maybe you have another connection string. If I go to from here, cd action runner, and then work order, FastAPI again, ls. Now let me to show you from ls just maybe env. Now as you can see, this is our connection string. As a default, I don't have any admin or any password, but if you want to create an admin, you need to add actually username and password here in your connection string as well. Okay, now what we need else? Now we have database. I think we are allowed to run our project. Let me again to test source virtual environment bin, and now active. Now I'm going to type Python 3 root.py. Now let me to copy this line and port 8080. And now, as you can see, our program is running, this time on server on port 8080. As I said, this is just simple test to be sure everything is running and work correctly, because we have already opened actually firewall, and it's not true way or right way. This is just simple code, actually just simple test that we be sure everything's working. We can close firewall, and we are going to work with Nginx. Before we are starting, actually, and if you have already worked with Django, you will be familiar with Gunicorn. Actually, Gunicorn is a miniature and actually is VSGI Python server for Unix. That means it's often used connection with Uvicorn sign. It's highly configurable and able to handle Uvicorn works efficiently. And I should say, actually, the Uvicorn documentation itself recommend. Actually, you can find more documentation about Uvicorn. Actually, Uvicorn recommended to use Gunicorn and Nginx to run project in your server. You can find it from Uvicorn documentation. I have already installed from pip. If I do pip list from command from here, from action runner, we have already installed Uvicorn and Gunicorn as well. I think I can find it. Okay, from here, Gunicorn, we have already installed Gunicorn. We can test, actually we have already tested from Uvicorn. We can test it with Gunicorn as well. To do that, I am just going to type Gunicorn bind on port localhost. Actually, in this case, our localhost will be our server, port 8080, and from root I'm going to run app methods, and from Uvicorn let's run it. And if I refresh this page, you can see it's working as well. Let me to create a database. Okay, now everything is working correctly. That means from here I allow to run Gunicorn on other ports, for example 8000. That will be work as well. Now, as you can see from here, I allow to run it again. Okay, now let's stop it, because we want to configure our Nginx with Gunicorn. Now, the next step is actually to configure Gunicorn. We are going to create a Gunicorn socket file. You can find this Gunicorn socket file, maybe something like this. Documentation, Gunicorn. You can find Gunicorn, actually maybe from Gunicorn, maybe socket. it's the same way. I just want to copy paste. Actually, it must be true way from here, but I just wanted to find it because I have already did it from here. Actually, it's not matter. To do that, we are going to create a Gunicorn socket file at the first. And for Gunicorn socket file, what we need, I'm just want to create a file from here. Okay, let's deactivate our virtual environment at the first again. Deactive and clear our file. Now, oh sorry, I'm typing too fast. From here, sudo nano etc system gunicorn.socket file. I'm just going to copy paste Gunicorn file from here to there, just like this, and Control X, save it. And we need to, that was our Gunicorn socket, we need to configure Gunicorn service as well. And this time sudo nano etc as is the same path, this time service. From service, I'm going to copy paste again and things here. You need to change 4 things in your system actually. At the first is just description, it's not matter, type what you want. From user, define your user, active user on Ubuntu, DigitalOcean Ubuntu service. Work directory will be home, username, action runner, work order, FastAPI, and FastAPI. And again for Gunicorn, I copy paste this path, and from here just is the same actually. You don't need to change anymore because connected to your virtual environment and Gunicorn socket. And the second and the last part is too important. If you have create as the, actually more developer typing main.py, but I typed root, I create a root file. Here I have already typed root, and I from here call app method. Now let's save it. Control X and yes. And if I type pvd, you can see that was this path of our work order, actually our FastAPI CICD project. And now is it time to start a Gunicorn socket just by typing sudo, let me from here just copy paste. As you can see, sudo system tag start Gunicorn socket, and now we are going to enable it. Now it's time enable. As you can see, successfully created symlink. And now let's check status. As you can see, socket Gunicorn is active. Actually, we are already did everything's correctly, and now we can also check for existings actually of the Gunicorn socket file by typing just file from here, file run Gunicorn socket. As you can see, the file exists. If it's running, that means everything is correct, and we are working, everything's correctly. Now is the time to configure our Nginx. To do that, I'm going to from here cd etc Nginx and site at the first enabled. As you can see, as a default, if I run our project without any ports, you can see welcome to Nginx, and Nginx is active. Nginx is active, but we want to create a new file. Let me from here sudo rm default. I just want to delete default file from Nginx, and now let me do this again. Okay, great. Now cd backed, this time cd site available. As you can see, we have just simple file. I want to go to from here sudo cp default from here, and I give it another name, for example FastAPI Nginx, or FastAPI maybe config. What's wrong today? Actually, config, because keyboard is not working correctly here. Okay, I have created another file. Now sudo nano FastAPI config file. Okay, now don't worry. We're going to delete everything from here, and now we are going to copy paste just simple Nginx file. As you can see, I need to change server name. If you have server name or if you have domain name, you can type together here. Now let me again copy our server, and location is true. We have already defined a location in Gunicorn socket, as you can remember. Now I'm going to save, and let me do what we need to do. Actually, we need to active this file. To do that, I'm going to type sudo ln -s FastAPI to do etc Nginx site enabled. That means okay, and let's do type sudo Nginx -t. Okay, we have some error from here. What's wrong? It is this site enabled that not worked. Let me come back. cd site enabled. FastAPI config is there, but FastAPI config file. Too many levels of symlink. Okay, sudo rm. Let me go to cd site available again. Now cat FastAPI. We have created server, just simple server listening, and we have already defined port. Actually looks good. Let me to do something else this time. I'm going just to completely the address by typing etc nginx site available FastAPI 2 etc again nginx site enable. Okay, now let me again sudo nginx -t. Now this time is worked. Nginx, the configuration file syntax is okay and copy paste it successfully. I'm going just to sudo system cell restart nginx service or just nginx ls clear. And now let's to run our application without any port. Okay, as you can see, it's working correctly. We have created FastAPI. We have already created FastAPI CRUD to do application, and we have already we are create a GitHub runner CICD. We are configure our DigitalOcean server, Ubuntu, and config Nginx, Gunicorn, and MongoDB. That was just simple test. You can work more about security from DigitalOcean. You can work with security of MongoDB. You are allowed to work with firewall. You can do more firewall security. And actually, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. For me, it was interesting to create this tutorial because because sometimes we are going to create a project and we need a way actually to publish it. And for FastAPI, I think that was great example and great to do actually for everything. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Bye.